So I think the big thing for me is when I wrote my book. So I wrote my book fairly recently. It was in December when I actually wrote it, beginning of December. So it's probably what, 2 months ago, give or
Yes,
take.
it's a quick, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very quick. Like I'm not an author. I didn't really like
You
plan
are an
how.
author, though. You put this out, man.
Yeah, but now I am. But like before, I didn't see myself as an author. I just like did it. So what happened was, so I give context of how I wrote my book, and people, when I explain that, they understand like how I wrote my book. So at this time, I was going through just like a lot of pain, right? In December timeframe, it, it was more overwhelming. It's just as a typical guy, you bury things, right? Whatever you with all the trouble times you have in your life, you bury it, but eventually it's gonna come up. So I was just bearing pain, and I remember I was sitting at my desk, working on maybe some emails or something late at night or so. So as a typical guy, like I've done like anything to numb this pain. I've done alcohol, I sent in my book. I've done sleeping pills, I've done that. So what a lot of people do is they work out, right?
Absolutely,
If
yeah.
you can sweat it out, it's gone. So I was I remember this night very vividly. So I was working. I was just like in this pain. So I was like, I'm just gonna work out. It's late at night. It was storming. It was raining. Like in my backyard, it has like a metal awning, so you have like that tink tink noise that hit
Yeah,
rain off the metal type noise. So I was working out and just it just something just told me just to walk out. Right. So I walked down in the rain. And I just knelt, like fell to my knees and just screamed, just tell me my purpose. And at that point, I felt like life was just kicking me on the ground. Like I've lost so much. I've been through so much pain that, that's where I felt. But when screamed that, I felt this fire that I've never felt before. Like, mind you, like I've been through 5 years overseas. Like I've been through some tough stuff, but I felt this fire I've never felt before. So I got up and, screamed like after everything I've been through, after everything I've lost, after every woman I've loved left, you can't beat me. And in the distance, lightning went off. Like I can see the flash. It wasn't like crazy, like a flash, but it was a flash I noticed, sort of majestic, I guess you would say. So I went in, dried myself off, grabbed the bottle of whiskey, and I wrote my book for 2 days. And so what I mentioned is just like through that, like I was never a book writer, an author. I just did it through pain. So my recommendation is for anybody that's going through some type of pain, write it down. Like when you write things down, you don't have to share it. You can write it down and burn it. Doesn't matter. But when you write it down, it no longer holds a power over you. You realize that the pain you're going through, you see it from a different perspective, right? You write it down and you see, this is what I did, but what didn't I do? Or maybe what's the bad I did? But you no longer hold that purpose in your mind. So I encourage everybody just to write it down. It's hard. I had the bottle of whiskey because it was hard.
Hmm.
I was bawling my eyes out for 2 days, but when you get over that and you realize the pain and you realize that you feel the emotions going through those tough times, that's when you realize the lesson is teaching you, but also at the same time, you're realizing that when you focus on that, it doesn't have power no more. And you can learn from
Did
that.
did you did you journal or anything like that prior to writing the book, or was it like it all just came out at once in those 2 days?
I've never journaled.
Wow.
So I've never journaled at all. I really just did it. So it was 2 days. Like when I mentioned, it felt like 100 therapy sessions in 2 days.
Yeah, you had something you needed to release.
Exactly. So it was very overwhelming. So like a good friend of mine, a brother, brother to me now, I met with him in November, and he said, I see greatness in you. You're a risk taker. So when I was doing my book, I repeated that. when times got tough, I repeated that what he said, and I kept going.
Thanks for checking out Battle Line Podcast. This is just a smaller clip from our latest episode, which you can check out in its entirety by clicking here. While you're watching, be sure to hit the subscribe button and thumbs up the video to show your support. Now, if you'd really like to help us out, click the thanks button below to make a donation. It goes directly to us in keeping Battle Line Podcast going.